Welcome back to Punch Drunk Nerd, the podcast where three friends, three amigos, three bambinos come together to talk about nerd shit. It's your weekly podcast. Come on down, have a sandwich, eat with us, have us some tea. It's me, Luis Gonzalez, and with me is...
Ed Bull.
And Miguel Sanchez. You mother.
And today on the docket, we are covering Succession. The end of an era has finally come, and we're going to talk about the finale. We're also going to talk about what we're into, and there's some light news today. Actually, not really any news today. So for our news segment, we're going to talk about the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trailer. But before that, we are doing a summer box office movie wager where me, Miguel, and Ed are trying to guess which blockbuster movies are going to make a lot of money. So we all made our choices, and we're going to just review some of the summer movie hits. Ed, you are kind of recording all the numbers here, so I'm going to pass it to you to report us on the summer movie box office.
Yes, thank you, Luis.
Off to you.
Numbers just coming in, Luis, nice and hot after the Memorial Day weekend. With The Little Mermaid coming in hot, or ruined it. She should have had a splash. Yeah,
But
opening to a sweet $95 million.
That's nice.
And with the Memorial Day holiday, she swiftly overtook Fast X
Yikes.
with 118 million total, and that's where it's currently sitting at. Fast X, last week's number one, did see a dramatic drop, and I feel like maybe next week, Guardians is probably going to be higher than it on the box office. But Fast X is currently sitting at 113 million, so that's... third place currently in our list of movies. I guess this is technically just the third weekend that we're on. And then Guardians of the Galaxy is going really strong at 306 million, which is sweet because I have that guy number 2 on mine, and Luis, I know he's number 1 on your list.
Good for the both of you.
Yeah, so good strong start for The Little Mermaid. I think, especially now that the summer is taking off, like that number is going to stay consistent. Fast X is really doing better overseas right now.
Yes.
So that franchise fatigue in the US is definitely.
Well, guess what? We got 2 more Fast X's coming up, specifically Fast X Part 1, Fast X Part 2, Fast X Part 3. But
also known as 13, 14, 15.
So basically, we're still all good here. Both of us have Guardians of the Galaxy above Little Mermaid, and we all have Little Mermaid above Fast X. We're really early, obviously. This week, we're not reviewing it because we record on Wednesday. But Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is coming out, and then I believe the week after that is Transformers: The Rise of the Beasts, where we are getting introduced to the factions called the Maximals. Optimus Prime meets Optimus Primal. and then
swiftly after that, it's Elemental, my dear Watson.
Ooh.
And The Flash and Asteroid City all in one weekend. June 16th. Woof.
Ooh, The Flash. Let's talk about The Flash.
Is that your Flash running?
No. I'm not going to say anything about the movie. But I do want to humble brag. I do want to. No. Look, I just want to say I'm humble bragging here. Like I'm making it to the big leagues. Okay. I saw an early screening of The Flash. I'm not going to say anything about it, and I will see it again. That they had the director and the writer play a video beforehand, and they're like, "We're so happy you're here." And just to let you know, this is not the final version. So I will be watching it again once it goes in theaters, just to see the differences. I think they're still tinkering. Yeah, they're trying to gauge everybody's view on it, see if they're going to change anything. But it's insane how much you go online and there's a new celebrity saying, "This is the best movie ever." I saw like who? Oh my God,
Harrison Ford.
No, not Harrison Ford.
No, just joking.
Who was? Right. It was the most random person. The guy in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He can do the thing with his chest. Bounce him up and down.
Terry Crews.
I think Terry Crews saw The Flash and it's made the same comment. It's just like a carbon copy where everyone is saying the exact same thing.
And Edgar Wright.
It's become almost like a meme in this point where like
it's the best movie you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And so this is literally the only reason, because like I mentioned before, like how I don't really trust early reactions.
Sure.
So people are getting to see a movie maybe like in a month in advance. So first off, you're going to be excited about that. You're going to be riding that high, and I don't think it's often entirely accurate. So that's why I just want a little aura.
Well, I think it's interesting too because I've never seen a movie being screened so often, so early, in so many different places where it's just like,
oh, there's been a lot of controversy.
They really want to.
They are really selling it. I mean, it seems like by the time the movie comes out, it won't make that much money because everyone will have already seen an early screening. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, obviously not.
And it was for free.
Yeah, it was for free, and
exactly.
So no, So we're, when the Flash comes on June 16th, we will be talking about the Flash, and we will all be giving our, critique and view on
That's
it.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter.
Streaming.
It doesn't matter if Luis tells you what he likes or dislikes about this movie right now. You're gonna see it in theaters, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I know it's in the docket. You have to see it in theaters.
Okay.
Do you want me to go back in time and kill you, mother? Fucking watch this movie now.
You keep doing that, and I'm not going to be able to think of anything else when I see him actually running in the movie.
It's the worst. It's probably the worst thing about this.
We've all seen him do that, right, in the movie.
I would rather him Tom Cruise run than do this. Let
Tom Cruise be the Flash.
Yeah, his like. Yeah. Go to youtube.com/@punchdrunknerd or Spotify to watch some hilarity visual comedy. So that was the summer movie wager numbers. We have a new trailer that came out. We're acting like teenagers, but of course we're not teenagers.
We're mutants.
I'm actually a Ninja Turtle.
Speaking of which, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trailer came out. Sorry, Miguel. I felt like you were right about to segue into it, and then
I wanted to help, but then I just realized who's in charge here? You know what I mean?
No. Well, it's good. Ed came in. He helped me out. He held my hand and said, "Don't worry, Luis. I'll take you to across the finish line." And then you came and you held my other hand, and you were like, "Let's do this." Yeah. So it was nice.
Everyone's coming.
We got the whole title out eventually.
Yeah. I've said it before. I'm excited about this movie.
Yes.
And I did have this thought a week ago or whatever, that new Barbie trailer came out. And Ed was like, respectfully, Luis, I'm not going to watch this trailer.
I told him not to. I was like, I stopped watching it. And I said, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a half second where I was like, do I want to watch this Ninja Turtle trailer? I'm already going to see this movie. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I thought it was it gave just enough of the story without being too much, a little bit of the humor, but not necessarily.
Absolutely.
I mean, you kind of hope not all of the punchlines.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And the animation looks really fun, and you got to see a little bit more, you know what I mean, of the world.
Yeah.
So I'm into it. We're excited. I can't wait to see it.
Ed.
And then that's
I'll say something. Okay. I think it's when I watch it again, it's just this is going to be a good movie. I like the tone that it has. I think it captures the idea of teenagers in the perfect way. I think it's a refresher from what we've seen of Teenage Ninja Turtles, where they're in their bunks or they're in their beds.
Man, that scene.
Yeah, where they're just kind of talking to each other, like when you have a sleepover when you're teenagers and you're just kind of chatting, It really captures that, and I like the art direction. Yeah, it is similar to this Puss in Boots and Spider-Verse, but I think it distinguishes itself a little bit more.
It is, I really like the.
Yeah,
that's a good way to describe it. I was trying to think of a good word, but it just, it really looks like a painting almost, the way it's done, just kind of, or how you remember just getting a coloring book and felt. Using a felt tip pen. That's how it feels like.
Wait, keep showing me.
Just like that. That's how I color.
YouTube.com at Punch.
But yeah, no, it looked fun. I really am digging the look of the villains. I'm forgetting what one of the characters said. There's like a lizard or something. And he says something funny, but I was tickled by it. But I can't remember the line right now.
My seat, Ed.
Hang on, let me see if I can pull it up.
No, he like licks his eye or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Superfly? That the main villain?
Mondo Gecko. It was like one of his it was one of his henchmen.
Can I ask, that like big mosquito, like the main bad guy that we saw in this trailer, is that supposed to be Shredder? Is that Shredder?
No,
I
think they're saving,
okay.
Which is good. I'm glad they're not going.
Me too.
The obvious.
But for a second, I was like, "Is that the interpretation of the character?"
No,
you know what I mean? Like, and I was like,
"Just a fly."
Oh, okay. I don't remember that, but I'm here.
But the character designs
they look cool,
great. A lot of fun. Like the villains all look, kind of messed up. Like the Superfly, the main villain, voiced by Ice Cube.
That's who it was.
He just like he's disproportionate. All over, and one arm is super muscular, the other one is almost like a claw or something. It looks fun, and hence I guess the Mutant Mayhem. It's just going to be mutant on mutant, which is like a nice switch up. They usually just resort to Shredder, just like Batman resorts to the Joker. No, let's bring in some fresh. Let's establish this world before we go back to the classic villains. And we're still getting the pig. I forget his name.
Bebop.
Bebop. Yeah, and the other one,
Rocksteady.
So it looks like a lot of fun, and the action looks like it might be fun. And Jackie Chan, right, is Splinter.
Yes.
Oh.
It's good that they're not starting off with Shredder. They start off with these sillier villains, like, Bebop with a disproportionate head and everybody, like you said, disproportionate. They're kind of silly, and they look good for kids, and it's good because they're teenagers, so it kind of brings out that silliness. I think if Shredder was there, it would be way too serious. It would
a little more serious.
They would be forced to grow up, so I think it's a good that they wait for it so they can, use it for the arc development of these teenage turtles. They're like, you gotta grow up. It's Shredder.
They're in a position right now where they're trying to fit in or be accepted by society, so they want to destroy or help get rid of the villains, Superfly and all of that. No, it looks like a lot of fun.
Amazing. Well, this is a warning to everybody, a heavy spoiler alert, and if you haven't watched Succession, I would say go watch Succession in season 1 through 4. If you're not going to do that and you're just like, no, I just want to listen to your podcast, go down to the description below, go down to our show notes, and it will tell you a time code of when to jump forward when we're talking about what we're into. Every week, all the podcasts, we have a time code at the bottom. If you're interested about a special feature discussion or the news or what we're into, go down below, and we have placed a time code for you just to jump. You know what I mean? Also, this episode is brought to you by @PunchDrunkNerd. Subscribe, like, comment. All those things will help us. We're doing this organically. We haven't paid for views yet, but we are trying to do this, on the up and up. But of course, it is difficult out there for a streamer. No, influencer. No, content creator. That's the one. Succession.
That's the one.
We are here. We've reached the finale. I have so many notes on my note page that I didn't even have time to organize my thoughts. So we're going to do the best we can. Hopefully I can have support from Miguel and Ed on this. But Succession is the series finale. So far what we've come, I'm just going to do a little recap. Season 4 happens almost every day. Like it's like next day. When previous seasons, time passed in between episodes. Spoiler alert. Logan Roy dies in episode 3, which was, I think, a great choice because we got to see kind of how these kids handled his death. Usually if they waited till episode 9, you kind of have to rush everything at the very end. Here we got to see it in all the different facets. It's like Logan Roy's died, but we have all these things we have to deal with. We have Gojo, we have the election, we have, who will become the successor, and we have the funeral itself. All of these things super important you have to deal with. Now we are reading to the end of Succession where there is the Gojo deal. Finally, will it go forward? Will it not? You have Team Shiv with Gojo, and then you have Kendall Roy and Rome going against each other. Kendall and Rome obviously don't want to sell Gojo, and Shiv wants to take that CEO role and sell Gojo. Lots happens in this episode where Rome kind of is defeated after the previous funeral episode. He gets run over by this crowd. He kind of gets called out on his bullshit a little bit. And Shiv, who thought she was going to be the CEO, is no longer going to be the CEO. So they're kind of rounding up together. They're coming together to take Gojo. Before I go any further, I just wanted to give a quick recap. But boys, Succession. Woo. Thoughts?
I absolutely hated it. No, not really.
Oh my god! I was about to have some sort of weird. I was about to faint.
I played a Shiv on you.
Yeah.
Shiv. I shivved you.
Shiv.
I just changed my mind.
Shiv does what Shiv does. Shiv.
No. Oh man, you just reminded me. Thank you. a cunt is as a cunt says. Oh man, that is like one of the greatest lines.
He had that.
Ever.
Kendall had another line. Like, I don't know. Feels a little Queasy Gonzalez to me, and I was just like, this fucking guy and his isms.
The way the shit he comes up with is hilarious. You guys watched that video earlier of them, that I sent you of how they kind of read the script in the scene, or like how the script translate into the scene. I always wonder, just like when he comes up with that shit, like is somebody actually just come up with that and Queasy Gonzalez and typed it down, or is that just fucking magic in the moment?
Well, he felt it in the moment.
I will say that moment when I'm sorry, I'm going to jump forward because we're talking about it, but we all know that the Gojo deal doesn't go forward, and and Kendall is left with that realization. That moment when he goes into the writing, back into the board, that was all improvised.
Really?
Yes. So
like when he was,
he's freaking out, and then at that moment they call, go back to the board, go back to the director. So the camera, everyone was on point. Camera operator follows Kendall into the room. The actors in the room just realize that they're about to get filmed, and that honest reaction is like, you don't.
Frank's.
Yeah, Frank was like, you don't have it.
Wow.
You don't have it.
Yeah, that was good, dude. I've loved him this entire.
I'm just gonna jump to it. Like Kendall has been in this position where he's in the boardroom trying to take over, and every time he doesn't.
Yep.
And I am in this weird place where yes, Kendall's a dick, but also I'm a sucker for this like underdog story, and I was just like, oh my fucking god. The fact that he cannot even get this last time everyone was on his side to do it. Man. It was so sad and depressing. And he was like, this is all I can do. This is the only thing I'm made to do.
Oh man.
And for me, my understanding of Kendall is that he's done. If he doesn't kill himself soon, like he's going to be an empty blank slate, and there is no like moving forward for him. I think this is a huge realization. I think for everybody, from Kendall to Shiv to Rome, everybody had their eyes open about how they were all bullshit. I think Rome realized it in the last funeral episode, and I think Kendall figured it out. He had the rudest awakening. Shiv had it with Tom when they had their their back and forth, when they were just they were completely sober with truth. And here, fucking Kendall, man, when he just could not, I couldn't take it, and he couldn't take the truth. It was fucking insane. And I feel so, it's just a tragedy. Even though they're terrible people, I still felt so many different ways. Okay, I'm going to pass it off. I'll take it.
I half felt like when he got into that elevator, he was hitting the
I thought he was going
up.
Yeah.
He could jump off. Hilarious. But
well, there's a take when he was filming it where he crosses over the ledge and was about to jump in, and his bodyguard, his actor, came and stopped him, and the director was like, okay, cool, let's do another take,
let's go again.
But
also, if I wouldn't have killed him,
right? But I mean, I think the idea is that because Jeremy Strong is like super in his role and completely lives his character, so I think Jeremy thinks that he's going to kill himself for sure. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, you definitely felt it.
Yeah.
Like, That was the ultimate meltdown. Such an intense unraveling of all the characters, and couldn't help but feel like a little triggered by how Shiv was acting in that moment. Just like having flashbacks of sibling rivalry.
Yeah, because you have a lot of sisters.
Your sister out of nowhere, just like, no, I'm not going to do it. And just some of the faces she was making, I was just like, oh, you bitch.
Oh my god.
I do wish that, like, visually there was like a little bit of a build up. Am I wrong? Or
no. You're being too real on the podcast these last couple of weeks, man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
But the the build up in Shiv is ever so subtle. I almost wish there was maybe just like a moment longer or a moment, like a quieter moment aside before the board meeting where you saw her battling with that more, because it did feel like a sudden turnaround in the boardroom that because they came into the building, into Roystar, Waco,
like ready to go.
And they were rocking it. Like the whole
I was
energy
there for it. I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's go, let's block the deal."
From their mums all the way to the boardroom meeting, you were just like, "Yeah, all right, they're doing it. This is it." And like, I expected something to come up, but the fact that it was Shiv, and I mean, I guess to a point, there was almost Roman, but Roman kind of faltered in the last minute, similar to how he faltered in the first board meeting in season 1. So, but to that effect, the reactions afterwards are just fucking brilliant, and like I said, super intense, and you're just really, my jaw was open when that shit was unraveling. So yeah. Miguel, go ahead. You said you were going to say something.
One of the things I read online was that would Shiv have reacted differently if she wasn't like the last person to vote? Like if they had gone to her first and said, "Shiv, what do you want to vote?" You know what I mean? Like she probably would have like stuck with it.
She probably would have stuck. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But I feel like that, with Roman kind of being a little wishy-washy and then being the last one also like the deciding vote.
Well,
probably just like
I don't think she was. I don't think she was the ultimate deciding vote at that moment, because she still had two other people. When they left the room, they continued the vote, and then at that moment, she became the final vote.
I see.
That played out very nicely, and you get where she's coming from, because it happens every time. Whenever Kendall is just on top of the world, it gets to him so quickly,
so fast.
And it is like we're enjoying sitting back and watching this beautiful scene of siblings coming together, which for this show is rare. I almost wish Connor was there to be a part of it, but he was never a part of the trio. Yeah, absolutely, I do. Connor is like the quiet MVP of this season. Like, I love Connor.
But also, it did leave, the show did leave a little bit of a questionable situation. Remember at the end, they were like, "Yeah, he's
Shiv mentioned,
he's like, he's going to be gone," and then Shiv's like, "Well, maybe not, because and you see Willa a little bit disappointed about it. So not everything,
she was like about to party in New York as a playwright or whatever. But yeah, no, what were we saying? Yeah, just having that scene, that tender moment between all of them, but like the moment he steps into the office and the moment he starts talking to Stewie,
he puts his fucking feet up.
Well, let's just make him chair.
It's kind of like arrogance.
Yeah, and there was just like a brief moment of modesty when they go into his office and he's hesitant to sit down on Logan's chair, and you're just like, okay, that's nice. And Shiv and Roman trying to blow it off.
They're
just like it's not a magical chair or whatever. But the moment that he does, it's like a flip. And like I said, it's subtle, but you can see their reactions to it, and you kind of wish like But then, of course, Kendall and Roman have that scene together moments later when Roman, he's just like, it feels like it should be me kind of thing, but then has another breakdown, which only reaffirms that he wasn't made for it. So, like, if Shiv just had that moment, but yeah, the moment Kendall started acting the fool and cocky about it.
He put his feet up. You could see, I rewatched it a second time, and you could see Shiv, her face just being disgusted with Rome.
And then just Kendall. Getting just surprised by his cavalier attitude about making Stewie chair at the board and stuff like that. It's just like, it's just going back to square one. She's gonna be cut out. Rome will probably be cut out. So
what?
There was a whole other hour of this episode.
But we were here for the meat of it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a moment where the kids are separate, then they come together, and obviously they split up again. It's always a tease when they are having a good time together, because you're like, God damn it, this isn't gonna last. Like, how is this gonna fall apart? And it does.
Yeah. Oh, they have that brief dialogue where they very briefly plot to murder him.
Yes, jokingly.
And then they're like, ah ha ha, and then he's like, ah ha,
then mimicking him too.
Yeah. Oh man, that was so good.
Are you serious?
It's just like, you guys seriously try to murder me right now? But it's just so crazy. It was great. The interactions between them felt so.
Can I ask an overall Succession question?
Yeah.
Did
you guys feel like this was the appropriate time to end this show? Did you feel like this was the perfect execution of their final season?
I think so. I think this was the moment, because they all woke up to their bullshit and their lies, and then at this point it's like there's nothing else interesting about them. Kendall's just going to meander into nothingness. I think maybe Rome can do something, but this was the pinnacle. This was the peak of this story and this life, and I just don't think that there's. I don't know. I don't think there's anything. Ed, what do you think?
I agree. I think there are always going to be so many unexplored avenues that they've hinted at or started that they never finished. We were talking about the Connor stuff, but I think that also would just open up to repetition and kind of going in circles. And one thing I always did feel about Succession was even from season 1 to 2, 2 to 3, is it just going to be a circle of one of the siblings getting into Logan's favor, and then Logan screwing them out by the end of the season, and then Logan always having the upper hand at the end of each season? You can only do that so many times. I couldn't
stomach Kendall trying to take over again. It's like, bro, this is the 5th time.
Exactly.
This is a final.
To see that cycle. Exactly. There's only so much that you think that, I mean, it's just in real life terms that people are going to put up with that shit. You know what I mean? It's all three of them have been so wishy-washy. Shiv in this episode up until the last minute, So it's, I think it would just get a little boring after a while, to be frank. And one thing I noticed, and I've seen some other people comment on this, is that, and maybe you guys feel differently, but going from, let's say, season 3 through to this season, the show... Oh.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, my beer filled.
Find us on YouTube to see what Luis was shitting about. What was I saying? Fuck.
Sorry. Sorry.
Repetition. Blah, 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 blah.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. It was kind of losing... I wouldn't say it was losing its sense of humor, but it definitely lost some of that, laugh out loud moments that I thought was so great about Succession in the first 2 seasons was that just like some of the shit that these guys would say were just like, oh fuck, that's hilarious. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
it started to lose its humor a little bit. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like I said, if it went on for like another season or 2, I think it's definitely would have started to wear down. Like, you feel like some shows would have had a whole season surrounding Logan's death, and then the Waystar Gojo deal would be another.
I do like how they created almost like a pressure point. You know what I mean? Where all of this is bubbling up. Like, you had the Gojo, the funeral, the election. Like, all of that helped intensify the pressure of everything. So it pushed people to their rawest moment, giving us the Shiv moment, giving us the Rome in the streets and collapsing at the funeral, and obviously Kendall here realizing. Miguel, did you think that the season wrapped up a little too soon, or?
I think I need to rewatch the whole thing again, because like I've
1 through 4
seen it all. Yeah, but I mean, I watched this season and it's been like, I guess, a year. I guess it's everyone. I don't know about you guys if you rewatch between seasons, but it's been a minute since I've seen the whole show, and so part of me was kind of holding on to the overall details. I don't know, but a part of me kind of did feel like Ed was over here saying like some people, 1 season to the death and 1 season to like the Gojo deal, and I could have totally been one of those people. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I get the idea, like creatively, to not have Logan Roy be like the episode 9 out of 10. You know what I mean? Moment of the season.
Yeah,
I did like that it was early, but I just felt like we could have maybe done a little bit more before that.
It was very sudden.
But the reaction I had to it was also very good. So, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, you go one way or the other.
Yeah.
I think I'm definitely going to watch the show again just to kind of get like that full story.
Yeah. I'm trying to get Sarah on board to watch it with me, because I would like, now that it's concluded, I would like to revisit. I revisited it, I think, all the way through leading into season 3. Or rather, I was rushing through season 3 and I was like jonesing for more, so I just rewatched it.
Oh yeah,
got it. I had COVID when I first finally sat down and watched it. It was like, I was alone in my room for like a week and a half, and I was like, I've been trying to watch Succession, like maybe I'll just watch it, and I did like season 1 and 2 back to back, and then I think I got to watch season 3 live.
So when Rings of Power season 2 comes out, give you COVID.
If I get COVID.
Why is this bottle? Why is there nothing in this bottle? Congratulations, you have COVID now.
Yeah, why does it say open me?
Here's a question for everybody. As far as the kids go, who do you think is the winner? Who do you think will be better at the end? And you know what? As I asked that question, I actually forgot about Connor, to be honest. So
Connor is separate. I think Connor did win in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think so too.
What if his political aspirations come to fruition with this president or not? Who cares? Like, I think the moment he won was when Willa married him.
Yeah.
Like, even if they have a fucky relationship for the rest of their life, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, she looked at him in that moment, and I don't know. But she looked at him in that moment and said, "No, I'm with you."
Yeah,
and I think
he gave her an out,
and she stayed.
She stayed, and I think there was something beautiful about that, and the fact that Connor has always been able to separate himself from those 3.
Yeah, he's carving out his own little niche.
Yeah. Whilst also, in more desperate times, having to assert himself as the elder brother, I guess,
during the all the death talk.
Yeah, absolutely, and just having to basically just sit on the sidelines and watch their bullshit. I think of the 3,
it's a tough question.
So I can't.
I'm even having trouble thinking of it right now.
I think there's an element to Roman.
Yeah.
I think Roman, with what happened in the last episode, I think was a sobering moment for him. Yes. I mean, the thing about all three of these people is that despite all the shit that they have been through, it's like next episode they could just be over it. They don't care. They're kind of hollow human beings.
They all just got like $2 billion each, right? Or something
exactly.
Like that.
But it's not like the end of the world.
No.
Shiv just became her mum.
Wasn't that kind of the tragedy of her character also?
Exactly. But it's not a happy one.
Well, I would say, depending on how you look at it, obviously not Kendall.
No.
Kendall
obviously. He's done. He's dead. To be honest, to me, he's dead. Like, his soul is gone. He's no longer. He's a shell. The moment
the credits ran, he shot himself in the head. Like, he is.
Even if he doesn't kill himself, emotionally, he's like a shell.
He's dead. Yes. So I think it definitely comes down to Rome or Shiv. And I just think it really depends on how you look at the two characters. Roman definitely, you're right, Ed, is like kind of freed from this. Like, he had a sobering moment and is kind of now looking at the world a little differently.
Yeah.
And he has $2 billion.
$2 billion!
And Shiv.
Did they say that number at some point?
I read that online. They obviously they're being bought out. Like, they are getting lot of
what happened to Pierce?
And I know it's like...
Keep going.
Oh, I wanted to ask about that. Let me get back to that in a second, because I do want to ask about that, okay?
That's a whole nother secret.
And the other thing is, if you look at Shiv, like, she got all this money, $2 billion, and she also still, she kind of found her way in, even if it's, like, not the way she wanted it.
This is a good discussion point, because I talked to Sarah about this, and we talked about why she flipped and didn't choose Roman or choose Kendall. I am of the camp that she is so disgusted with Kendall that she can't even stomach it. Like, fuck the consequences. Fuck what will come, what will be. She just cannot. Like, she says that I love you, but I cannot stomach you. And I think after all this, she realizes, like, oh, now Tom is in control, and I don't think she was really thinking that.
I don't want to derail your thoughts too much, but I can't remember. Did Tom has that conversation where he's like, by the way, it's me. I'm going to be the CEO.
Yeah.
Does that happen before or after the vote?
Before.
It's at Connor's apartment.
Okay. So it is before she has that realization. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So not only is she realizing that Kendall is a piece of shit, she's also going, well, I do have one other option.
I think the Kendall thing really only started to kick in once he was in that chair.
But like subconsciously or whatever, she was telling herself,
that's what Sarah's saying.
Option.
I think, at first she was just enraged because it was supposed to be her.
When she got out of that fucking apartment, though, when she's like, I love it when Shiv's walking, she's just like, and she's just like so fucking upset. She's like, it's Tom. And then she walks out, side-eyes him, and then fucking walks out. Dude, I recorded that on my phone. I loved that moment. Okay, sorry, go ahead. I'm nerding out. I'm nerding out.
But yeah, no, I don't think Shiv is a winner in this at all. And I think you could tell that I think that final shot is so fucking brilliant.
Good.
And so, like you said, Miguel, it's very tragic. Mm-hmm. They are both unhappy people in this regard. Tom just became a CEO.
Crazy that Tom became the CEO.
And you've seen him. You've seen at the highest of highs throughout this show, and the lowest of lows. But for some reason, this seemed like the saddest moment.
I loved that moment because 30 seconds before he gets into the car, he's got a face on. You know what I mean? I am the CEO. Like, I have won. Like, a personal win. I've got all this success. I should feel good about this. And then when she tells him, like, congratulations, he immediately goes, no, it's not.
Right?
It's like it's like, no, you're the
but
one.
Also he is the CEO now, and Shiv has nothing. Like, the power dynamic is a little bit. It's weird. It's like it's weird.
The relationship is so much in tatters. That they could not. I just don't think like he's ever going to let her bend his ear.
Yeah. No.
Oh man,
I don't,
because you don't like to fail a test.
Because
I don't.
Yes. No, I think says you don't like to fail a test.
his loyalty is now to Mattson of all people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you know.
He's a pain sponge,
he's my boss.
a pain sponge to Mattson.
Yeah.
Like the way he's like, I'll do whatever you want. I don't care.
I don't want to compare the show to like Game of Thrones a whole bunch, but in my head, I do kind of compare some moments.
Yeah.
That scene where he puts his hand down and she like barely puts her hand on his was great hand acting.
Yeah.
And I think the only other time on HBO that I've seen such phenomenal hand acting was in Game of Thrones when Cersei becomes queen.
Yeah.
I think the next season they put that pearl. No, it's like a coral or something ring on her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she has this moment where she's like grasping the chair. And then she says something and she goes, "Ah!" She like does like it's such a like a Shakespearean villain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how I felt in this moment. I was like, "Oh, this hand acting is top notch. Let's get these handsome Emmys." Okay?
Let's get these handsome Emmys. Yeah, for best dramatic acting, Tom and Shiv's hand, just like the hands.
That's right.
It's the hands that said 1,000 words. Honestly, it was
so good. It was so good. And I mean, it's
like a painting.
Let's talk favorite moments. Can we just get into it? You know what I mean? From overall,
from the season,
the whole season.
Why not? I have it written down.
Okay. I'll have to think about it. But my favorite.
It's a gut reaction.
Episode.
Yeah, go ahead, Ed. Go ahead.
My favorite moment of that episode was what we were just talking about. That
scene. I mean, yeah, you can't really top that.
And like so little is being said, but there's so much. It's just like
it's just like I'm blown away by that whole B story plot line. Like became so pivotal into the A story, and how all of that weighs into this. Like there's so much weight to that just hand dropping on top of the other hand.
Can I ask if I said I wasn't gonna, but I'm gonna.
Yeah.
If I could compare it to Game of Thrones just one more time.
Yeah.
At the end of spoiler alert, Game of Thrones. Spoiler. At the end of Game of Thrones, Bran is the king.
Ugh,
you know what I mean?
I roll. Yeah.
But did you feel that way about Tom becoming the CEO?
You know what though?
Like, no, actually, I could see this.
But okay. I did not like. For me, I was shocked. I was like, "Oh my fucking god, it's Tom!" And then after a while, you're like, "Oh shit, I guess it's Tom."
Okay. It is
Tom makes more.
He could do it,
man. This guy. I mean, I guess you remember. I can do it. I can do it. Yeah, no, he can't do it. I mean, he is the job. He is a shell. He will just do what Mattson says, and Shiv has too many ideas. And it's like, damn. From the beginning, he really did kind of quote unquote fuck his way into the business.
He did,
and he's like, I don't want the baby mama. I want the guy who put the seed into the baby mama. You know, is what he said.
Yeah.
Damn.
While openly talking about wanting to.
He's like, no,
her
yeah, we're men.
himself.
We're men. We can talk about that. That's what Tom says when he says, "I want to fuck Shiv."
Man.
Yeah, that's okay. We're men. We can talk.
Oof.
I guess my secondary moment would be.
It hurt.
I don't know. There's a lot of moments here, but I do want to call out. I do want to call out Greg. Greg has been another character that let's talk about. You know, he has been switching sides, similarly like Tom. He's been saying like he went to Kendall. Do you think you can win this? Do you think you can win this? Because I have some like epic news, solar system changing news. And there was a moment when Greg and I texted you guys this late at night. Greg and Tom having like a little fight, and he slaps him in the fucking face. Like, oh wow, things are getting physical.
Yo, Greg, that moment was like the part 2 for me for Greg.
Yeah.
Early in the season. When he's talking to the editor to try to get Logan Roy to say a couple things, and he's like, you got to edit it so he says it, and he's like, I don't think I can, and he has this moment where he's like, no, you will do it for me, and I was in my head was just like, okay, dude, you are a Roy, okay, you're not this like piddly ass little Roy, no, you are the guy, like find that confidence. And so I felt that same way, and I felt like it was relived in that moment when he smacked Tom.
There's a moment when they smack, and then he's like, I text this, he's like fronting him. He's like, what are you gonna do? And he just kind of like, and that, like, you're right, that power that he's finally picked up. I love the moment of the sticker.
But he's such a, I mean, that was cute. I was about to mention that in a second, but because like out of the whole thing, the happiest moment of that whole scenario was the fact that Tom
keeps it,
like forgave him and put He carried that sticker around just to do that.
He did.
And you're just like, oh, okay, those two deserve each other.
I do love.
Also, fuck Greg for
Greg,
just. Yeah.
Wait, why fuck Greg?
Because he's just like he's full weasel now. He was chasing after Miguel, don't get defensive. He was chasing after Madsen because he was afraid to lose his 200K a year.
Okay, Ed.
As an assistant.
Okay, Ed. Let me take 200K away from you and see if you don't act a certain way. You know what I'm saying?
If I had 200K, you wouldn't hear me complaining and trying to get more like fucking Greg does.
I don't know.
I work from paycheck to paycheck, bitch. I'm not
it's in his blood.
Yeah, exactly. He got greedy and he got.
They all get greedy.
He got lucky.
Isn't that the point?
Of course they do, but they already established as such.
Don't take that tone with me, young man.
Greg is just the worm on the outside. You know what I mean? It's like he doesn't have to become the shit.
Ed, genuinely, I'm surprised he's not one of your favorite characters. I mean,
I do like Greg. I have always been a supporter of Greg, but I just do think this season he became a real piece of shit.
Well, yeah, he did.
Which I guess that's his whole arc.
It's what happens. How fast, let me ask this, how fast, Luis, Miguel, Ed, how fast into the Roy family dynamics before you become this shithole? You know what I mean? Before you're like, you know what, I do want more money. Fuck that old man.
I mean, I probably follow the path of Greg. I mean,
I'm allowed to not like Greg. He was like a bit of a worm.
No.
He's fucking Shiv over, fucking Madsen over, fucking Tom over.
But he has no one. You know what I mean? He has to do what he has to do.
He will always be okay. Like, if you don't think Grandpa Ewan
not only that
isn't going to take care of him after his demise.
Didn't he take away his inheritance though?
Oh,
that was like 2 seasons ago. The dynamics have changed.
It's shifted. It's been a while. I had COVID when I was watching it last.
But I don't know. But I'm not like resenting him, but it's just more of just like okay, he came full circle, and yes, he's also a piece of shit now.
Are you gonna say this next time you get into a family fight with your sisters? I am the eldest boy.
Whoa, big moment there. Big moment. When he called.
Yeah.
You gonna throw that in the wheelhouse, Ed?
Against my sisters, you think that would work? Forget about it. If I would just spur them on. That was like, if anything, that was just like an admittance of defeat.
Yes.
Yeah.
That moment reminded me of when he and Jess were talking in the funeral. And Jess was like, oh, wait, he's like, what's this meeting that we have on Monday? He's like, don't worry about it. Let's not talk about it. I don't want to ruin your day. He's like, no, let's talk about it. He's like, well, I'm leaving. He's like, no, that's okay. And then later, as the conversation goes on, he's like, this is bullshit. You're stupid. You're dumb. And he completely acts like a child. And it's this exact situation where, and he's like, you shouldn't have brought this up, Jess. And it's like, Jess was trying not to bring it up.
Today of all days. Thanks a lot.
Today of all, thanks a lot. Yeah. And he's just doing.
And then he has the audacity to get a new assistant, and he calls her New.
Yes.
Jess.
Oh my God. I mean? Yeah, New Jess.
Oh.
And then I want to keep going further. He starts freaking out, and he just is an animal in the corner saying, "But I'm the eldest boy." And then Rome kind of says that he is not a real Roy, and he fucking goes at him, ready to do Game of Thrones again.
So good.
Pedro Pascal eye pop and move. And you know what? When watching it, I felt the escalation of like this has to get physical. Like he is a hurricane ready to explode, and you know he even defended him from Shiv, who he's like trying to stop Shiv from going into the boardroom. But that was crazy when he grabbed his face and was just squeezing it. Like,
I was half concerned that was like improvised in the moment, and I was like, we're doing too much, you guys. Come on.
Yeah, like give it a month, and Kieran Culkin's going to be like,
hey, by the way,
Jeremy Strong was a real dick.
Yeah, because now we're about to start getting all those articles now that the show's over.
Right.
Like, let them get them Emmys. You know what I mean?
And then
immediately after, they're going to be like, you know what?
Okay, well, here's another question to put to you guys.
Go ahead, Ed.
Who gets the Emmy?
Okay, because are you talking about Best Actor?
Yeah.
Okay, because
fuck,
Kieran Culkin is putting his name in that, right? And Jeremy Strong also.
You got to
I don't know about Brian Cox. Is Brian Cox like? I don't know how the season works for him.
I think he's like supporting this season. If I had to guess,
I would do Kendall as lead and Rome as supporting, and then you have.
But that's not how they're doing it.
But what about Tom?
Oh, damn, this is unfair. This is why winners don't matter. If you get nominated, it's a huge like honor.
But say it came down to leading, and it was Rome and it was Kendall. I'm going to pull a Miguel. Which one would you choose?
Hard.
Why? Because I know how to.
You have to choose.
I know how to foster conversations. Is that what you're saying, Ed?
That's
a tough one.
You were just putting it to me about Greg money.
Here's what I would say. I would say, look, hands down, Jeremy Strong. It's Kendall. Okay, like he played that character beautifully. Every time. You talk about how like, oh, I'm worried that the season is just going to become like, well, are we doing this again? Jeremy Strong, Kendall's character, almost succeeds and then fails basically every season. But every time he does it, it's captivating, and especially in this season when he has that breakdown moment outside of the boardroom in that whatever conference room. It was just like he fully understands how to play this character every single moment. And I think Kieran Culkin is very, very good and is going to go on to have a lot of success off of this show. But I would give it to Jeremy Strong.
That's a tough question because I think from episode maybe like 2 to 6, I would have given it to Kieran. You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of it was a showcase. I mean, this the funeral episode was also really big.
Even 9,
exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, I mean, all 3.
Like when he's meeting with Gojo and he's like talking to Mattson, and he's just like, you know what, fuck you, dude. Da 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 da. Like just
his breakdown in the funeral, like
the death,
not a dry eye in the house, literally. Like that was so brutal. Yeah, I was just curious. I know that Kieran is putting his name in for leading. But yeah, it's a tough one for sure.
I think he, as an actor, will have more success off this show than Jeremy Strong.
Kieran?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's the opposite. I think Jeremy Strong will continue to have these kind of great characters. I think Kieran Culkin's range is very limited, and I hear
that. But as far as like popularity, I think he will have
for a while
a farther reign. I think Jeremy Strong is going to go the way of, and this is not a bad thing, Bryan Cranston after Breaking Bad. You know what I mean? He did very strong projects, but everyone's always going to go, but Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
He's going to have some mezcal. That's what him and Kieran are going to do. They're going to have their own mezcal.
Jeremy Strong is not going to join the MCU. Kieran Culkin will. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, who joined the MCU?
None of them so far. I'm predicting.
Okay.
I'm fortunate.
Is that winning?
I'm fortunate.
Oh my god!
Right,
I want to.
No, not necessarily. I'm just making a comment, Ed.
Oh, okay.
However you react is how you react in the
moment. Did you get my Dos Amigos thing though?
Did you get?
I keep.
No, sorry.
Like Kieran and Jeremy Strong will start their own liquor brand.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know. Sorry, my bad.
Okay.
I actually don't think that will happen. I think Bryan Cranston. If I had to pick best duo, you know what I mean, in real life, I would probably go with Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul. They seem like they're having fun.
Yeah.
I don't think Jeremy Strong is like the kind of guy that shows up to a party and you're like, oh yay! You know what I mean?
Jez, hey Jez, what's up, man?
The party has arrived.
I'm gonna miss. I mean, obviously seeing these characters, I'm gonna miss. You know, a one star that I kind of want to keep seeing stuff is Shiv. Like, I don't really know her from anything, and I hope she continues.
Oh, we're gonna see a ton of her.
I hope she continues to do some work. You know, like
just had a baby, by the way. Congratulations.
Oh, so that was interesting. So that was all real,
like in real life.
Sometimes they pull like, oh, you're pregnant. Let's integrate that in the story. Da 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 da. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, great.
I also wonder how that went for the season. I don't know like the timeline of how they filmed it or whatever, but I thought they did a really great job of all of a sudden she was pregnant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe she was pregnant the entire time, but it was just like all of a sudden it was like, oh, okay, got it. We're doing this story now. You know what I mean? And it was pretty late in the season, so that was kind of impressive. Like if you know how they always do that thing where the actor holds like a pillow in front of their stomach or something for like 9 episodes, and then you're like, oh, she's pregnant.
Oh, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
but it was ever so slight, and you could tell they were putting her in kind of looser wardrobe, you know, kind of just more cover up. She used to, I mean, seasons 1 through 3, she was wearing like skin tight dresses and stuff like that. Not that I was noticing, but I could tell from the clothes and just the way that they were shooting her in this season too. Like they were trying to cover it up and then just kind of rolled with it. That would bring me to like a multitude of some of my favorite moments were people figuring out that she was pregnant in the show.
Oh man, the mom, Caroline,
Kendall.
Oh, the mom. That was a good one. Yeah.
Kendall and Rome in the car.
Oh, by the way,
they didn't have to ask.
Yeah,
and she was like, but Kendall was like, so you know, like, and then she was just like, well, yeah,
yeah. That's what
no, it's very good, and yes, the mum, her reaction too was fantastic. Well, I'm glad they gave her some screen time this season.
The last couple episodes of the season, all of a sudden she shows up. I texted you guys in the moment, but when I was watching the funeral episode and she starts gathering all of the mistresses or whatever, I was like, this dirty bitch. Like she's over here causing all this fucking drama on purpose. But then it ended up being a really good moment. I was not expecting to have. I thought, Carrie. I thought she was just going to be a joke all season.
Right.
But when they had that like brief moment between her and Marcia, it was like, oh, okay, this is actually kind of tender and sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys. We've talked a lot about. I don't know how long we want to talk about Succession, but we talked a lot about the main characters. One of the questions I wanted to ask was like of the crew, you know what I mean? The
Frank and
the Roy
and Jerry.
Yeah, like the Waystar, like, you know, top execs. How do you guys feel about those characters? Who's your favorite?
You're talking about the people like
the main circle,
Frank
besides
and Carl.
probably the main circle. Of the Carolina, Hugo.
Oh, I forgot about it.
Hugo. Fuck Hugo, man.
No, we're all fuck Hugo.
I was gonna say we were talking about
woof.
And maybe Miguel, we can circle back to this shortly. Our favorite moment of the season, because I've written a couple down.
Okay.
But I thought, surprisingly, out of nowhere, Frank had a great season.
He's so good. Well, honestly, him and Carl, I feel like have throughout the entire show been some of the characters that I love to watch. Frank maybe more so, but you're right. Like especially the Frank that I assume you're going to mention it. The episode where Logan dies and he confronts Kendall and he's just like, you know, Sonny's dead, you know? Like, that's...
He's flying, like, the pilot's flying the plane, son.
Yeah.
And he bangs the wall because Kendall won't just, like, leave it alone. But, I mean, Carl is great, too. He was always more of the comedy side, like, the bumbling idiot. Obviously not an idiot, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he was always just kind of talking his way out of stuff, trying to avoid responsibility for anything. Frank was more just kind of like,
direct.
I've been around these... Direct, and like there was a certain kind of nurturing attitude about him, I guess, because he's watched these kids grow up.
Man, they fired Frank like in the first season, like in the first couple...
because he was trying to side with Kendall.
Yeah, in the first couple episodes, and then he comes back and he's like rides strong through the entire show.
Right,
he's
Jeremy
definitely
Strong.
one of my favorites. He rides Jeremy strong.
I love that.
We should get that on the t-shirt.
Speaking of
a yellow bracelet.
Speaking of Frank, I really loved his response to Shiv at the funeral. You know, we're doing all this eulogizing what kind of man he is, and it's all hyperbolic a little bit. But then at the end, when they kind of put him in that tomb, she goes to Frank and what's his name, Carl. They're like, "Hey, like, Carl. Was he a bad guy?" And they were kind of like, I mean, you know,
he's like, he said something like he's the salt of the earth or something like that.
He was a salty dog, but he was a good egg.
A good egg.
And then Carl was like, what you see was what you got.
Yeah. And then Shiv leaves, and then amongst themselves, they're like, right.
Like
they're kind of,
and he was like, yeah.
Also, they have that same. They have another bit of dialogue later where
with
Mattson's about to take over. Tom is about to take over, and he's like, "So golden parachute," and he's like, "Or like one more rodeo," and he's like, "Get the fuck out of town, dude! No way!"
And then Tom's like, "Fuck them, they're out." Like in the next shot, I love that transition between like the crush of this deal, and then immediately once it's signed, you see Tom busting through the hallway. Like already owning the fucking, you know,
a trail of people behind him.
He was waiting. He was waiting in a room just around the corner. Going, I want the word, and then I'm going to walk in, and we're all going to walk in.
Talking of side characters, how did you guys feel about the Jerry story?
Oh, I'm so glad you said that, Ed. I just selfishly, I just want to say I loved Jerry the entire show. From start to finish. I thought it was wild that they threw in this like sex dynamic between her and Roman. But it for some reason worked for like those two characters and the overall story. I thought she also played every moment beautifully. The reason why I brought up the like core inner circle besides the siblings is I thought every single one of them was so engaging the entire time. Hugo not so much, but everyone else I was very happy every time they were on screen. And when they had that moment in the funeral where Tom was eating the fish taco and they were trying to decide who's going to be the next whatever, I was just like, there's a lot of power in this circle. But I love Jerry. Sorry, Ed, I didn't mean to go on a tangent.
No. Well, that's why I was curious. Like, we barely see her in this episode. It's literally from Rome's point of view where she's coming in and I guess settling up. Avoiding that, you know, sexual harassment lawsuit from, you know, against Roman. But the fact that she instilled so much, I don't want to say fear, but like Roman would just kind of fall apart every time she was in a room.
Oh yeah.
You could tell, and that's when he started kind of spiraling in this episode.
Even when he watched her on that video of Logan Roy when he was kind of going through all the failed presidents. Like
he really, as fucked up as Roman is, like he clearly was hoping for something there.
He was,
and he did ultimately fuck it. I do wish like, I don't know, I could have done with just like a bit more Jerry this season, but I get where it went.
Yeah.
But I'm also Team Jerry. I thought, like, had Jerry and Rome stuck together, like, I genuinely thought that they may have made it on top.
Yes.
But Roman couldn't help himself. Jerry, I feel like the moment that it became kind of, like, sexual was when it was doomed.
Yeah.
A little bit, you know what I mean? Like, because clearly Roman couldn't literally keep it in his pants. Kept sending her dick pics. With classic moment from season 3. Good God.
It's his dad.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Are you fucked in the head or something?
Do you remember in this season when Greg had to confess to Logan, so I just like fucked a girl in one of your rooms? And like they just cut away from it, so you don't really see.
But I mean, kind of crazy that after this many episodes, you know what I mean? Greg is having this conversation with Logan Roy, and you're like, "Yeah, this is appropriate."
I couldn't believe how far he's got. Yeah, he's come into this, but
Oh,
I remember when what's it called? Rome was firing a bunch of people, and he fired Jerry, and he was just like, "I need you to say that I am capable of this job," and she's just like, "You want me to actually think that, or do you want me to just act like it?" And he's like, "All right, yeah."
That hurt his little pride, his wee little pride. Yeah, but no, Jerry was so good.
So good.
I mean, she was a force to be reckoned with throughout this whole series, and you kind of love it. Like she disassociated herself from the bullshit between Kyle and Frank. Like that episode earlier on after Logan died, and Kyle and Frank are looking at potentially his last will. And Kyle and Frank are like saying, well, maybe it fell into the toilet and flushed itself down. And she was like, oh,
what a good joke.
You don't want to do that. Yeah. That is a good joke.
I was out that week that you guys talked about that episode. Can I ask just real quick? That was a thought I had about the overall show. In that will or whatever, and they say, is it an underline or is it a strike through?
Yeah.
Did you guys have this conversation already? Like,
yeah,
but talk about it. I want to bring it up again.
Can you recap just for me where you guys landed on that? I hearing it, I said, oh, it's an underline. It's Kendall. Of course, it's got to be Kendall. But then Kendall has that shot later where they finally show the paper, and you're like, oh.
What this show does brilliantly is it balances both between the line of it could be both. You know what I mean? Where even this last scene when Rome drinks his martini in the bar and he's kind of like free and done, he takes a sip, he smiles, and then he kind of like is sad. And so you're just like, wait, fuck, is he happy or is he not? Is he going to be okay?
Yeah.
And then the moment of like the hand on top of the hand, like there are these moments of just, what is it, you know? And that strikeout is a perfect example of what happens. And do I think that he struck his name out?
Do you guys have a pen and paper in front of you?
Oh, you want to try it?
I tried to underline. If you try and just like offhandedly underline
do
something,
it with your other hand too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you want? Okay, so I think he struck it out.
I think he struck it out.
Yeah, I'm over here trying. I've got 3 words on the.
Now I'm gonna try to underline it. Let's see. I wish I had another
you do
camera.
It quickly. It's clearly not an underline.
He's an old man.
Yeah, and an impatient one. Like if he wanted to underline it, he would have just like looked at it and then deliberately drawn a line to emphasize, yes, this is my choice. Like you would double line that shit.
Circle it.
Yeah, bold. Kendall, Roy,
exclamation
2
point.
lines, yeah. Or a circle. No, he was just like, I'm pissed off at my son, I'm crossing him out. Yeah. Fuck off.
Oh, I was watching this video and there is a, what's it called? Toast that they have about Succession.
Oh.
Did you see okay. Ready? Do you have your drinks, everybody?
Yeah.
No, well, I finished mine.
Well, it's okay.
Oh, Ed.
Here, bring it up.
Fucking hold up an empty glass.
All right, here we go.
Now, put some water. It's bad luck to cheers on an empty glass.
Here's the toast. It's bad luck with water, too. What are you going to do? Put some spit in there. Oh.
Ew.
Okay, here's the toast. Here's to you,
Ed.
And here's to me. The best of friends will always be. But if someday we disagree, fuck off.
Cheers.
So now you know the Roy fucking.
Yeah, can we print that?
I want to say that.
Put it in the notes.
Next time we're together, and then every time after that, I would like to say that. Okay.
Okay. Beautiful.
For your at your bachelor party, we'll be just saying that. Anytime we drink.
I don't know what else we want to talk about. I know we were talking about it for like 50 minutes, but great show. Obviously the script and the dialogue is like the number one key thing. I think the way that Jesse Armstrong can fine nuances, and it's like what I'm saying is not really. No, Jesse Armstrong is the writer.
And also strong.
I'm talking about the writer, the showrunner here.
That's my bad. Too many strongs.
I thought you were legit. Like, I fucked up that name.
No, the writer, the showrunner.
And I'm gonna just go.
No, I think they did such a good job of not saying things dead on. There's a lot, like they say something, but it means so much more. And it just doesn't mean one subtext. It means 3 things and 4 things. And the way that it interlaces into other stuff. I think that dialogue and subtext, super great. And the way that he handles power dynamics. I'm excited to see what he does next in making a show. But, yeah, it's a good show.
Do you guys think this is Will Ferrell's best project, or
what?
Oh,
because he's executive producer.
That makes me sad because they're no longer
friends,
partners in there.
Are you talking about Adam McKay and Will Ferrell, like producing?
Yeah.
No, they're no longer friends. I don't think they really had any involvement.
I don't think Will did much on this one.
You know what? If you had your name on Succession, you'd be like, "Yeah, I fucking wrote Succession." Yeah, I taught Jeremy Strong everything. I taught Jeremy Armstrong everything he knows.
Honestly, we could watch this whole series on our Patreon and talk about each moment. We could have a podcast covering each minute of this show. There would be so much content. If we ever run out of ideas, we'll do that.
Hit us up at Punch Drunk Nerd. Should we change? Should we switch?
Yeah.
A Succession episode ranking coming soon.
Man,
I love it.
Yeah. Crickets.
I also love how Greg used Google Translate to like figure out what's going on, because that's totally a move that I would do.
Just another smart boy tactic. Okay, like my boy Greg. He saw the landscape and said, I have to react accordingly, you know?
I want to see a spin-off show where Greg fucks up so bad that he goes to jail and then starts trying to sell out all of his prison mates.
No.
And then immediately gets shanked.
I'm blanking on the example. I feel like we have...
This is very common, I feel like, between me and Ed, especially, it feels like, where him and I will be on 2 different sides of how we feel about a character. You know what I mean?
I do feel like you're maybe thinking, but I actually hate Greg. I don't hate Greg at all.
You're saying literally, I hate Greg and hope he goes to jail? You know what I mean?
I didn't say I hate Greg, I hope he goes to jail. I was just like, I would love to see a spin-off series.
If you would love to see someone go to jail, that equals hate, okay? That's not the way that formula works. At the end of it, it equals hate. Okay. They're like, Greg got the death sentence, and you were like, well, you know,
he's a rat.
I don't.
Didn't he wear a rat costume at the beginning of the season? Wait, hold on. What was his what was the costume?
It was
he was like
a possum,
some mascot. Yeah.
What?
He wasn't a possum, was he?
What did Greg?
Greg costume.
That was when he was smoking that blunt. And
No. He didn't smoke a blunt. He smoked a one-hitter. Those fake cigarette things. You know what I'm talking about? Where you like dip your.
It's a dog.
A dog. Okay.
It's a dog.
It's a dong.
A dong.
Smoking
okay.
a dong.
Big dong.
Smoking a schmong.
Smoking a
little Greg.
Greg. I had more to say, but I forgot. Succession, great show, obviously.
I'm going to go back and watch this whole show. I'm very excited to do it all. I am not going to convince Kristen to watch it. When I explained to her...
You need Sarah. Sarah can get maybe Kristen to watch it. Because Sarah loves it.
I hope. Yeah. In fact, I will message Sarah separately. I know she's busy.
Yeah.
But I will message her separately and be like, please, I know you're busy, but can you please get Kristen to watch a show?
Yeah.
Well, can you work it on my Sarah too?
I casually started, I was like, babe, I want to talk about the show, and like I can't talk about it with Ed and Luis for a few days. And she was like, I mean, you can talk to me about it, but I'm just not going to get it. And I was like explaining how, and then Kendall lost, and he spiraled, and
there's so many nuances. It's so difficult.
Like, doesn't he do that every season? And I was like,
I mean, yeah,
but also this time,
but this time he grabbed his face.
It was different.
It was. Oh my god!
And he didn't quite kill himself, but you thought he might.
I was so mad when she said that. I was like, "Damn it! I'm never going to convince her."
That's what makes it depressing. Oh man. So yeah, Succession. Well, yeah, we did that. Next week we are going to talk about Across the Spider-Verse, right?
Yo, I think I didn't realize this. We were gonna watch Little Mermaid with the boy over Memorial Weekend, but we got busy, so now we're thinking, okay, we'll do it this next weekend. I didn't realize Across the Spider-Verse is also coming out because we are for sure gonna see.
Yeah, that's gonna be the movie that hopefully we see. So that we'll see. We'll talk about it next week. Obviously, it did really well. A little cult classic.
Well, I know Ed's gonna see Little Mermaid too, so I do want to hear about it. I just don't know if I'm gonna be able to see both.
Right. I'll probably see Across the Spider-Verse on Tuesday.
Yeah. You better.
You fucking Tuesday.
Because spoiler alert, I already know what's going to happen in Little Mermaid, you know what I mean?
It's like...
she's going to sell her company.
Flounder takes over.
No, yeah,
Ursula is straight up Tom Wamsgam. You know,
Wamscams.
Oh, I was going to say, if there's a fun video of Tom and Greg doing each other's lines on YouTube. So go on YouTube, search Tom and Greg lines.
I'm going to see that.
But yeah, they swap scripts and they do each other's thing, and it's fantastic. Okay, so now this is the episode. This is part of the episode. This is part of the podcast. Jesus Christ. This is part of the podcast where we talk about what we're into. We obviously watch a lot of shows, a lot of things. We're going to share it with you. Ed, please.
Ed, there are people that only listen to our podcast, okay? Like,
I'm sorry.
Their ears are bleeding.
Why did you have like this earthquake?
Miguel, what are you into?
Yes.
Ka-chow.
Oh, you guys, what a week. We were honestly so busy. I didn't really have like an official thing that I was into. But we started playing Crash Bandicoot. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, but we started playing Crash Bandicoot, the original trilogy. And then I ended up buying the newest game that came out a few years back, Crash 4, and also Crash Team Racing. Okay. Can I ask real quick? Did you guys play any of these games?
No, but I want to.
Fuck.
Sorry.
Okay, this was like a childhood classic of mine. You know what I mean? Like, I've definitely played all three of the Crash Bandicoots and Crash Team Racing, and I'm not sure why, but Forrest kind of like found an interest in it, and he kept calling it the Orange Hedgehog because he like associated him with Sonic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That little rat.
Yeah. No, he's not. Well, he's not a rat because I would never.
I would never.
I expected this to go a little longer because I thought maybe at least one of you would have played this game.
I want to play it. Like, I mean, I'm interested, but get in line.
I'll say this: it's a lot of fun. It's really difficult for a game that you're like going back and revisiting. Like for me, it's a game that I played a lot when I was a kid, and so it should just be kind of like muscle memory.
Right? It's a tough game, huh?
But then I play it with Forrest, and I'm like, hang on a second, this shit's fucking hard. Like I'm dying like every 5 feet.
Oh, come on, I don't want to.
You know what I mean?
Come on.
To a point where the remastered game, they started this new function where if you die like 2 or 3 times in a row, they'll add a new checkpoint in between where you are and the checkpoint that you should get. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that.
And you're like, God damn it. But that actually brings me, I'll just wrap it up with this thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Luis, you and I were playing Jedi Survivor.
Yes.
And I don't want to overtalk it because it feels like every week we're talking Jedi Survivor because I don't know about you, but I am not done playing this game.
I'm not done either. I know. I'm so busy.
It's just one of those things where it's like every time I think I have time, all of a sudden it's bedtime.
Yes, absolutely.
I was playing this level the other day where whatever boss I was fighting kept killing me over and over and over again, and I kept going back to the checkpoint and coming all the way back, starting the fight and dying
for Jedi Survivor
45 times. Yeah, and then eventually I was like, I'm gonna move it to the story setting. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I moved it to like the lowest possible whatever, and then I got through it like that, and something kind of came over me in that moment. And I was like, you know what? I'm having a great time with this game. I think it's really good, but I can't play it forever. You know what I mean? Like on my own skill level.
Yeah.
I have to go ahead and just like bump it down. We might have mentioned this before. Luis, what are your thoughts on playing on like the easy or the story mode or like the lowest difficulty setting?
Okay. I have a real ego issue with that. So,
Me.
Yeah. me. No, I do. I think I feel bad about going to story mode, and I feel like, oh, Luis, you should be doing better than that. You should at least do the middle ground. And it's like, okay, if I can do the middle ground, that means I'm a real gamer, and I can at least like, not even a real gamer, I can at least match up with like in the low bar of what's considered a gamer. You know what I mean? It's at least I have a ticket to the party and say, hey, I at least did the minimum that is required to play this game, and I got through it, Not to say that there are moments when I hit a boss, I'm like, okay, fuck this. I'm tired of wasting time, and then I bump it down a little bit, But
I'll say this: when I play a video game and I change the difficulty level, and it goes, well, we're gonna have to start you all the way back here. I don't like that. In Jedi Survivor, I can go, I want to be on the easiest level and kill the boss, and then I can immediately bump it back up there and like continue.
I know, yeah.
It does feel shitty. It does but at the same time, I'm sitting here going, there's like 3 other games I want to play.
Yes.
This year, and if I want to get to them,
so Miguel, I always try to do the normal game mode. I played this game called Control. It was on Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
And I just got Game Pass, and it was like, we're leaving in 3 weeks or something crazy, And I was like, fuck, everybody's playing this game. Everybody raves about this game. As I was playing it, shit got really hard. And then I was like, man, fuck this. And then I changed everything, and I made myself invincible and invincible and never die and omnipotent. I was like, crush. I mean, that was truly story mode. I was like a god going in And as I was going through, I was like, even if I wasn't in God mode, this is like a lot of people to defeat. Like, this is too much.
Yes.
So I try to not to be easy story mode for sure, because I want a challenge. I want to better myself. I want to learn how to parry more, Miguel. I want to be able to parry.
Okay. And listen, I'll just say it. I'm not who I used to be in a gaming setting.
Okay.
Like this parrying shit, I am not doing it right.
Yeah.
I'm always like triangle.
Yeah.
And then they smack me in the face. I'm like, motherfucker. So that was one of the, because when I changed it to the setting, they show you the graph.
Yes.
Like, okay, well, your parrying's going to be this much better. And then I switched it to the bottom, and it was like, you're just going to win every time. And I said, that's
the one. Yeah.
Want. Ed, I was going to ask you, I know you don't play a lot of video games, but a while back when I first got the PlayStation 4, you, for like a birthday gift or whatever, you got me that Alien game. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And you were such a champion of me, and you were like, we're gonna do this on the hardest setting, okay?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? And
I do.
And we're gonna play, and it's gonna feel so real. And that was one of the moments early on that I was like, I don't have to do this. You know what I mean? Because that game is so long already, and we were like maybe 10 minutes into it, like on the scheme of things, and we were still dying like every 30 seconds.
Hard.
And it was scary.
It was scary. You don't start off with any kind of weapon, and you cannot kill. It was like androids walking around.
Yeah.
And you just could not beat these fuckers without dying instantly.
And I finally moved it to the lower setting, and then I finally finished that game. You know what I mean? Like, if I had not done that, I would not have actually seen. Whether you think that game is a good game or not, whatever. That's whatever. But I would not have finished it if I hadn't done that. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I get to play video games. Like, if I wanted to, I could play video games all night. I just don't ever have the energy to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when I do play them, I just want to keep playing. I don't want to die like 45 times in a row.
Ed, if you don't mind, I'm just going to skip you real quick, and I'm going to talk about something that Eric Jew called me out. Yeah, related. Eric Jew was asking me about Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. The rave. Everybody's talking about Tears of the Kingdom. Everybody's playing it. Everybody's having a good time. Before Zelda Tears of the Kingdom came out, I tried to play Zelda Breath of the Wild again to, catch up. And I'm going to be frank with you. This game is way too fucking long. and I'm walking way too much to even enjoy myself. Man. And
the new one?
In the old one. And then I learned that the new one is like, you got to play 80 hours to beat it. And I'm like, fuck that. I am not spending 80 hours to beat a game where I'm still in Jedi Survivor. And that game is 20 hours? And it's been a month. Like I saw a sketch video where somebody couldn't finish a video game until they were like 80. And 80. I'm not going to spend my hour. Okay, first off, I'm going to say it here in the podcast. I don't like open world as much. Like I come to play a video game. I have an hour and a half, maybe 2. I need direction and I need to know where to go. I don't have time to discover or these things. I want an objective and I want to complete it. And Jedi Survivor does that for me. I feel like Tears of the Kingdom is too open world. It is too long. It would depress me and put me in a state of hibernation of how depressed I would be. I couldn't handle a game like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I can't handle a game like Elden Ring. They're too much. It's too hard. It's too open world. I just can't spend that amount of time in it.
Luis, would you play that game in spurts? Like, okay, I play it for a couple weeks and then I come back several months later.
No,
because you can't, right? Like, because then it's like I've lost the momentum.
There was a moment I was in Breath of the Wild and I was like just running across fields or galloping, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing right now? Like, I am just going. I'm just traveling. Like, this isn't fun for me. I mean, maybe I like combat. That's the moment I realized. I was like, okay, I like third-person action adventure, quasi-platform video games. God of War, Jedi Survivor.
Yeah.
Things like that. Yeah. I don't like to explore. I don't like to talk to people. I don't like to hear what they have to say. It is not. I don't give a fuck. You know. I just want to get to the action.
I'm excited for you to play Last of Us Part 2 because what Naughty Dog has done with like Uncharted 4 and The Last of Us Part 2 is they've taken these kind of linear stories where you're kind of like walking through these alleyways or like limited levels, and then they sprinkle in these kind of open world elements.
That's what I want, sprinkled.
But they're contained.
Yes.
Like in Last of Us Part 2, one of the early, like in first act, when you finally get to Seattle, you've done these kind of like pathway levels, and then all of a sudden they open it up, and then after you complete that level, they bring it back down.
I like that. That's what I mean. That's what I want. I want curated open space. That's like, we got a little playground here. Now let's narrow it back in. You got to do this. Like that is
let's get your attention.
Yes, I think just too open world where it's like, yeah, you could defeat the enemy right away. It's like it's just no.
Did you ever play Red Dead Redemption 2?
That is a reason why I don't play Red Dead Redemption, is because I hear how long it is and how open world it is, and I literally cannot stomach it with the little time that I have.
It is a fun game. That was like one of the last big games I played before my son was born. So I had the time, or maybe he had been born. I have to think about this. Maybe he had been born, but you know what I mean? Like he was just like, he was little.
Yeah.
He was in one spot.
He could barely hold his head.
And so like I had the time to just set him down and play this game. And I remember telling Ed and Mike at work, like, this is like an 80-hour game.
No,
and
pass.
Like,
I can't do that.
I'm really getting through it. And like when you think the story is wrapping up, they're like, no, bitch, there's a whole second half of this game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's one of those that I don't revisit story-wise because it's like I just can't commit to this
80 hours.
You know?
I can't. 30 hours is my max. If it's more than 30,
I might be wrong. I just remember 80 being the number.
Yeah. No, I mean, preferably like 10, beautiful. 20, I can do. 30 max.
Oh, I think anywhere between like 10 and 20 can be pretty good. And when you can invest time in a game like through side quests, and that can like raise your number. But like as far as the story, like from the time I am entering the world to the time that I hit the resolution of the story, like 10 to 20 hours is about as much as I want to contribute.
I think if we had a shorter, like if you could beat this game in 5-6 hours, but open world you could do 20 hours, then I would do open world. But the problem is that the normal story mode is like 20, 25, 30 hours, and then story mode's like 16, 80. No. Now I'm streamlining this. But you know, it is what it is.
Ed, I'm sorry, you don't play a lot of video games. I know we haven't really talked to you in this moment.
Sorry.
How do you feel about long video games? Like, would you ever, in your personal life, commit to one?
Yeah. So you were talking about games like Red Dead Redemption, which I've dabbled in, I guess, but I've never played like the full story. What would we call, say, Batman Arkham Asylum?
Oh, okay. So open world is kind of a strong term for that because it is very like sandboxy. You know what I mean? Like you were only in like a certain area.
And there is an ultimate goal.
Yeah, and when you move through those stories, they do kind of like thematically take you from like chapter to chapter, you know?
Sure. What about, say, Mad Max?
Oh man,
you remember that game?
I do. That would be an open world game because generally it's all
you're discovering.
It's the whole
I really
thing.
enjoyed that game, and I get that it was like a little repetitious at times.
That's the big complaint that people say, but it honestly, for the system, PS4, and at the time that it came out, and for it being a movie adaptation of a video game, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or video game adaptation of a movie.
It really checked a lot of boxes.
Yeah,
it's got a 9 out of 10 on Steam.
It made my PlayStation work.
That's a really fun game, Luis. I don't know if that appeals to you at all, but I don't even remember it.
I would argue that
being that long.
It's probably a little dated if you played it today.
Sure,
but I mean, the sky was beautiful. Like when I remember driving through the desert and looking up and being like, "This game is beautiful."
Yeah, you could build your own car, Luis. You go from town to town.
That's where Ed gets me a little bit because, like, Ed, I feel like how do I say this? Like, Grand Theft Auto is not a game where you would play the story. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And so in my mind, I don't see you playing the story of a game very often.
Which I did in that one.
But that one you did. And it's like, okay, like you...
if I put my mind to it, I have the time, etc. I guess I could also see equally, like, if I had limited time, like these days, I don't even get to watch all the movies I want to watch.
If I told you could pick between this movie or this video game to play for a couple hours, I don't think you would ever play a video game.
But the difference would be that I wouldn't be able to complete that video game in that amount of time, right?
Okay, I hear what you're saying. But you wouldn't also commit to like a couple hours here, a couple hours there until you finish it?
Which essentially, it's just the nature of games, isn't it? You just kind of go back to it. Sometimes you need to walk away, which I certainly did, and sometimes you can't wait to get home so you can continue playing, right?
Yeah.
And I saw that bit of fluff. But to your point, like as far as like Grand Theft Auto and stuff, I never tried to play the story mode. Really, I was about the driving from town to town, trying to kill as many people as I could.
That's right,
and get away, lose all my stars.
You see, that's why I think you would like Red Dead because it's in the same studio made that game,
right? Yeah,
but it's on a horse.
I mean, I've dabbled it. I've played on it on your end.
Fishing, you know.
Yeah, I took a train one time.
Isn't it beautiful?
I hijacked a train. It was great. So yeah, I do like those games, but I also, you know me, I like a good shoot 'em upper. Just like mission, whatever, and or a little FIFA from time to time, guys.
FIFA.
I miss it.
I miss it hard.
Okay. That's all I was into this week, you guys. I've been busy. So
one thing I did want to ask you guys, I've noticed that there was a new game called Lord of the Rings Gollum, and it has gotten some of the worst reviews.
Good for you, man. Dude, I appreciate you in this moment so hard. Yeah, I don't know much about the game. I had no idea that it was.
I'm gonna watch the trailer when I hang up with you guys.
But I saw IGN obviously posted about it and a couple other sites, and I saw the graphic of him with these like weird like cartoony big eyes.
Yeah.
Or human eggs or whatever Caroline called them in Succession.
That's right. What did she call them? Eggs. Face eggs.
She said something eggs. Face eggs. Yeah, I don't know. And then the fact that the developer had to like send out an apology and be like, "You guys, we really dropped the ball on this," and it's like, woof.
Yeah. That was. I mean, I don't know much about the game, but I did hear him apologize about it. He's like, "I'm so sorry, we fucked up."
Damn. Oof.
But Ed, this is a game that you could play, right? You could play it for a couple hours and be like, "This was the worst game I ever played, but I'm glad I got to experience it."
Maybe. Fuck, if it was like a bit more of an interesting character, like I get the want to maybe do it from Golem's perspective, but fuck me. You might as well be playing Stray, right? Where you're just like a cat walking around and then hiding from danger, I assume.
Okay, that seems
I don't know. I was just
seemed like a very pointed criticism. Okay.
No. Well, it's just like I don't see the point of games like Stray, like unless you just really need to leave your reality and become a cat. Sorry, I just assumed this would be the same kind of thing, just like in Middle Earth.
But if it was a corgi, Ed, you would be down to go, okay, corgi.
No, not really.
You wouldn't want to play a corgi, Ed?
Fluffy.
No, that sounds boring butt. Too. I've been around these corgis. They are not fun. But like Golem, like the most you could do is murder somebody.
The most you could do is murder.
That's what Golem does. He just murders people. He's like a piece of shit.
I just love murdering.
I don't know, but yeah, not. I was just curious to see what you guys know about that game. I just thought it was funny. Anyway, but yeah.
Ed,
thank you for your update.
Ed, I feel like we've talked a lot of video games. Ed, what have you been into, man?
Not playing video games, sadly, alas. No. Maybe one day. So, yeah, I finally was able to watch X and Pearl, which I've been meaning to do and set aside time for. And yeah, I finally did it. They were both on my Prime. I want to say it was like Showtime or something. They became available on one of my channels. So, yeah, I finally got to watch it. Luis, this was in your top 10?
This is my top...
These two movies? This was like 10. Your sneaky 10 and 11. It was
my number 10, yeah.
Right. I really enjoyed it. Last year, the horror movie, I think, that stuck out to me was Barbarian.
Yeah.
But no, I very much enjoyed the style of both of these just completely batshit stories that are intertwined but are very different at the same time.
Right.
X being told through kind of like a 70s, 80s kind of porn star lens. And
porn star, like those old, like,
there's like a grainy
slasher,
texture to
Texas Chainsaw Massacre style, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And then, where everything, you just feel like sweaty and it's humid outside. You can just feel it.
Yeah, so good.
And it does take place in Texas too, right? And then Pearl is this kind of glamorized, almost Wizard of Oz like.
It's a
switch. It's just like gloriously vibrant. It's beautiful to look at. It's like a fairy tale almost, but it's on the exact same set as X.
Yes,
and it's just so seeing them tied together, and then the outcome of each one. Like, I'm really very keen to see the third one, Maxine. which I don't know when that's going to come out. But all that to say is, like, I had a good time with it. I did not know Kid Cudi was in the first one. That was a surprise.
Wait, what? Kid Cudi's in the first one?
Yeah, he's the actor, the porn actor.
No, that is.
Am I?
Ed, top 5 Kid Cudi tracks right now.
He performed one on SNL. Yeah, it's Kid Cudi.
Oh my god. What the fuck?
Did you not know that was him?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so I should get props for recognizing him.
I didn't know that. That blows my fucking mind. What the hell? What?
I was just like, I know this guy.
And then you Googled him.
Well, no, because I was watching it on Prime, and if you just like move your mouse to the left, it will give you fun trivia.
Prime has that X-ray feature
when I
watch movies.
Oh my fucking god, that is him.
Click a button.
I didn't know. What's her name? The New Wednesday.
Oh, Jenna Ortega.
Jenna Ortega. Yep.
Oh, speaking of hand acting.
What? I don't get that. What?
In the Addams Family, there's the hand.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay.
We were talking to Succession earlier.
Oh,
with the hand. Okay. All right. Sorry. Apparently, that was a deep cut for this episode.
I thought you were saying her Wednesday.
45 minutes ago.
I thought her Wednesday performance had good hand. Like she had good hand acting, not the show.
Sorry. Sorry.
Well, I thought you were being sarcastic, like she could only act with her hands, and that's why people liked her.
No, that's okay. That's all right. My bad.
Yes.
I'll shut up the rest of the episode.
Anyway, all that to say... Oh, and Brittany Snow. Miguel, aren't you a big fan of...
Pitch Perfect. Is what
Pitch Perfect.
Hell yeah, you are, dude.
Well, I just thought it was hilarious that she was, like, in this movie, and she was, like, a porn star. I was just like...
I don't know.
But anyway...
Quick side note. We just did the Pitch Perfect trilogy in our house over the last couple of weeks. Ed, I swear to God, if you roll your eyes at me one more time.
I didn't roll my eyes. I closed my eyes. So I
knew what was happening. We did. We watched. It was funny. We watched like Pitch Perfect 2 on Amazon, Pitch Perfect on HBO, and then we went to the library because we just got library cards, and we checked out Pitch Perfect 3. Like we sought out that trilogy. Wow. Okay, Brittany Snow is top tier in our house. Okay,
good to know.
Can't wait to watch Pearl.
I mean, she was good in it, but yeah, I guess it all comes down to Maya Goth, who plays Pearl, and then
she also plays X.
Mm-hmm. And she'll play
Maxine. You'd get it when you watch it.
She plays X/Pearl.
She's really, really good in Pearl, and Pearl was the one that like Martin Scorsese was in love with. Too.
Is that last
Martin Scorsese.
Oh, I thought you said Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey loves these movies,
and I was gonna be like, "Oh,
if you need any higher recommendation."
We're making choices on the pod without talking to people. Okay, cool.
But no, it was it was a good. Would you call it a slasher? I mean, it was kind of.
Yeah, I would say they're kind of like slashers, and then the Pearl is like a quasi slasher. I mean, it's interesting because Pearl is set in that like 40s, right? 40s era or 50s.
Like it was around World War I, actually.
Oh, okay.
So a little earlier, maybe the 30s.
But it has like the media that you would see in that time. You know, I for some reason I'm thinking of like Disney's Snow White, like just that type of like feel and vibe was present in Pearl. It's like how are they going to make something with that type of tone into a horror movie? And they do.
It was the visuals in both films are pretty incredible. I'm thinking about like there's that bird's eye view shot of the lake, and Maya Goth is swimming back to the pontoon, and there's you see that alligator just slowly swimming behind her a couple of feet back. God, yeah, really vivid imagery.
You should watch it with Forrest and have a good time.
So, and it really is a movie. They are two movies that really complement each other. It really is.
Listen, I just want to say real quickly. I don't know if you know this, both of you, my two bestest friends. I have FOMO through the roof, and the fact that both of you have watched these movies now, I am definitely gonna watch it, and I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna tell Kristen, I don't know, I just feel like maybe we should watch these.
Just like nonchalant.
Just be like, we should. I don't know. Like, do you want to?
Have you heard of this?
X?
It's got Kid Cudi in.
Is it 10 or is it X?
Definitely don't have Forrest around when you watch these, I'd say.
Family.
All right.
Yeah, do not have Forrest around. But yeah, it was a good watch. Miguel, I get FOMO when you guys see movies that I haven't seen yet. So
yeah, but how often does that happen, Ed? I mean, like,
well, this took me a whole year to get around to watch. So
okay, fair enough.
And another movie I haven't watched is The Flash.
I fucking hate you.
Now, Luis, give me a wink.
Stop. No, stop.
Okay.
Please don't.
So what I've been into, I'm gonna get to this quick, I guess. Barry.
Oh, he eye rolled. He didn't like it.
I didn't say anything.
It's not funny.
Barry.
It's not funny.
Watch Barry on HBO. That was another season finale. So not only did Succession end
Louise
that night, but Barry also ended that night. And what Succession does really well with dialogue and scripting and characters and performance, I think Barry does really good with visual storytelling and utilizing the tools that a director would use. And I think what's his name directed all the episodes. Bill Hader. He directed all of them this season. Like I said, it was
the whole season.
The whole season. It was a lot more experimental. It was a lot more, yeah. But I think I just love the way he uses so many different film tools to elicit different feelings and truths and things like that. And Barry's great. I think it's a good, like a fine class on filmmaking.
Were you pleased with how they ended it?
I think it's similar to Succession in the sense where you're trained to love something to be a certain way, to have this quote unquote happy ending, and you're like, I expect it to be this way, but in the end it just deposits truth. And Barry does that exact same thing where because this happened, this happens. And in its truth telling, I enjoy it because of that. Okay. So yeah,
it was honest to its.
It was
to itself.
It was. Okay. And I'm just gonna go back to back here too. But again, I'm gonna talk about the great. I didn't watch a show. I was against Nicholas Hoult, and I love Nicholas Hoult now. He's awesome. And Elle Fanning, I love her. I love the whole cast of this show. It was great casting, great performances, everything. It's a really funny show. It's really funny. And
you've been talking about
it. Is it better than The Crown?
Now.
I've never seen The Crown.
It's a different show.
And it seems like a very different show.
Well,
where
and I am sure you see it that way.
I feel like The Crown is
American eyes.
The Crown.
It's got a king. It's got a queen.
The Crown seems a lot more straightforward in its dramatic interpretation, where The Great has a lot of tongue-in-cheek comedy to it. I would say it's like.
And a lot of historical liberties.
Yes, exactly. So it's kind of, I don't know, 65-70% comedy, but I don't know, 60% comedy with 40% dramatic stuff. Incredible performances by all these people. And they do such a good job of setting you up like this is where the characters are at the beginning of the season. Midway through, it almost completely goes to the opposite side. And then in the end, we kind of are somewhere, we arrive to a new place. And it always amazed me how like these two people really liked each other, or these two people really hate each other midway through. Oh my fucking God, they love each other. And the way they go through people's arcs is incredible. They're incredibly true to their characters. It's all about, this German bride who gets married into the Russian family. She tries to become a lead. She sees Russia as an opportunity to be something else and greater. And you have all these other Russians who are like, no, Russia is this way. You see so much power dynamics. If you love Succession, this is the same thing. There's a lot of power dynamics of who's going to take the crown, who is doing this and that.
He's supposed to be Peter.
Yes, he's supposed to be. He's Peter Peter. And Elle Fanning. I mean, I don't know. She's really good. But yeah, no, the great Ed. What have you? What else have you been into?
All right. Well, lastly, just real quick, Sarah, reading so many books this year. She just finished reading Rainn Wilson's of The Office fame.
Right.
His I guess autobiography.
Oh.
King of the Oboe or something like that.
Okay.
Sarah, it doesn't matter. She's gone. It's some instrument. Anyway, so he also has a documentary series on what's it called? Bassoon. Thank you.
The bassoon, Ed. You knew what that was.
The king of the bassoon.
Shout out Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah, keeping me with my facts. So anyway, yes, he has this geographical documentary series where he is traveling to different countries, go figure, based off of where they rank in the world's the happiest places, like the world's happiest countries, or in some situations they're not so, like the least happiest places. Like we just watched one where he went to Bulgaria, and it's like 87th out of all the countries. The first one he went to was Iceland, and so anyway, he's basically trying to find.
Are really happy, I feel.
Yeah, because they take care of their people. They, yeah, heaven forbid. But yeah, like just so everybody knows, the US has never cracked the top 10. Big surprise.
But Bulgaria was 87. Okay, so.
But people make do. But yeah, it's a very insightful show. Rainn Wilson, keeps it kind of light and funny, but also insightful. And there was another episode he went to Ghana, which it's kind of like on the newer spectrum of having just got a democracy. It still has like a lot of problems in its country, but everybody is super optimistic and happy, and everybody helps each other out, kind of thing. And they're just kind of like we've seen Ghana kind of show up in these last 2 World Cups. Mm-hmm. And done surprisingly well, and you could tell that they're just kind of happy to be there and going to give it everything they got. It's not kind of like a pageantry for them. They don't have all the best players in the world like some teams do. It's they're just kind of happy to be alive and kind of appreciate one another, and it's more of a community. And so yeah, it's just kind of like a nice show, a nice way to wind down at the end of the day if you do like those kind of travel shows. It's not really it's not artificial, it feels genuine. He's like going to real people. He's not like just meeting up with famous people.
That's cool.
In all these different places. So yeah, it was just like a fun thing that Sarah put me on to, and we've enjoyed watching that.
What? Where did you watch it on?
Peacock.
Okay.
Huh. You guys.
What? What do you have to say about Peacock?
My kid is super into Puss in Boots. And
Peacock.
The other day, I was like, oh, I think that's on Peacock. Like, I was just kind of like casually saying it to Kristen or whatever.
Oh, no.
And the boy now goes, I want to watch Puss in Boots on Peacock. And like if I go like, wait, where's Puss in Boots at? He goes, it's on Peacock, Daddy.
Oh, they should hire him as a spokesperson. It's
they should Peacock. Because honestly, they're getting views off of us. You know what I mean?
You know what else is on Peacock?
Is it?
Poker Face. Also a good show. Ed, you finished.
Great show.
My son's not watching that.
Oh, he'll watch it.
But you should.
Yeah.
I love the first episode.
That's all I want to talk about. I was going to talk about Yellow Jackets, but I'm not going to talk about that.
But when are you gonna? Like, it doesn't have to be tonight, but like, I feel like we've talked about you wanting to talk about Yellow Jackets. You know?
Yeah.
And maybe next week, you have a little moment.
This will be the common thread through all of our episodes. Maybe I'll talk about Yellow Jackets this season.
Yeah, maybe take a break from talking about The Great next week.
You're right.
Just talk about Yellow.
Maybe you should watch The Great. Bitch.
We're working on it. I can't tell you how many times Sarah and I have talked about it.
Yeah. I gotta finish watching The Crown first.
You know what we gotta watch, Miguel?
Yep.
We gotta watch Midge.
The fantastic. What is it?
The Fantastic. the
Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Yeah, no, the season's out.
The Fantastic Fanny.
And it's just like a life and everything. I've just missed it, and I love the show.
It's over. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's over.
All right, we gotta
catch up.
We'll do a season recap. Okay.
Okay. Well, we gotta watch it because that's like a show that gotta watch. Isn't she slated to do something coming up? Rachel Bronson they were like she's about to.
I hope.
She's
for
Mrs.
movie.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Shut the fuck up.
Rachel McAdams.
Wait. Before we go.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. This can be the very last thing we talk about. Okay. You guys have heard about these like Fantastic Four rumors. Okay. This is the latest one this week.
Okay.
The internet seems very confident that this is the cast. Okay, so I'm gonna get just like knee-jerk reactions and then we'll leave. Okay. Adam Driver, Mr. Fantastic.
Okay.
Margot Robbie, Sue Storm.
No.
Adam Pascal, Johnny Storm, Daveed Diggs, The Thing.
I did hear about that, Daveed Diggs.
That is the cast. That is what the internet.
Who's the other one? Who's the Human Torch?
Adam Pascal. Or that's his name, right?
I don't know. I'm Googling him right now.
Adam Pascal.
Is it Adam? Oh my god, I said the wrong thing.
Pedro?
No.
Adam Pascal is 52 years old. Is that right?
No. Stop. The guy that's hot right now. Fuck.
Mescal? Paul Mescal?
Mescal.
Paul Mescal.
The one who's
Paul.
Yeah,
Okay.
Paul.
Sorry.
In Gladiator 2.
Well, was going to be in Gladiator 2.
He's still
Barry Keoghan was the one who
don't.
Barry Keoghan stepped out. Okay.
Just pull up these four people. It's Adam Driver.
I don't think Margot Robbie's going to be Invisible Lady.
I don't think so. And I don't want her to.
That seems like the most on the nose casting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know about on the nose, but because I don't know a lot about Sue Storm.
Is she blonde and hot?
Well, I guess so. Like, if I was comparing her to Jessica Alba, then yeah, a little bit on the nose.
I think Rachel Bronson was another character who was brought up to play her, and I feel like she would do a good job.
She could be good. I'm just saying
that's her name, right? Rachel Bronson?
Yeah, okay. This is what the internet, a couple different sources have said. This is the Fantastic Four cast.
I wish James Gunn could be like wrong. You know, he goes on the internet. He's just like, nope, that's not true.
He's not even associated.
And they're like
anymore.
Source, and it's like, I'm James Gunn, bitch. Me. Like I'm the one who's making those calls.
I'll say this: of all of them, I think Adam Driver.
Yeah, Adam Driver.
I don't care what the internet says. I think that's a pretty solid.
That's
casting.
the one. For sure. I align with that. Ed?
Do you think Paul Mescal will do an Irish accent when he is the Human Torch?
I literally have no idea who that is. Like, I know his name, and I got it wrong earlier. Like, I know the internet exists, and they love him, but I have no idea. I haven't watched anything he's in.
Flame up!
Adam Pascal, Paul Mescal.
Oh, flame on.
Oh, flame on.
Hand me a Guinness.
No, he has to speak English because Adam Driver. I'm still waiting.
My bad.
A step too far.
I'm sorry. That's my bad.
And with that, we're going to wrap up our episode. Thank you for listening to Punch Drunk Nerd, where we talk about nerd shit. Next week, we're going to talk about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Is it too long? Is it too short? What I found out. What? Do you not know? It's like a...
How's the Flash?
How'd the Flash, yeah.
Stop.
Until next time, it's been me, Louis G.
Eddie B.
And Miggy. Ed. I don't know where you think you get off. I'm Miggy Smalls.
And until next time, fuck off.
Fuck off.